Dadgummit! Philip Rivers hung up his cleats, and as Fantasy Intervention's resident Colts fan, that aggravates the stew out of me. So what's next behind center in Indianapolis? I'm Jakob Sanderson, and that's what I'm going to address on today's Quick Shot.
All right, who wants a shot? Quick Shots.
Before I start, I want people to understand two things. Number one, Philip Rivers was good, and not in a way where we should respect our elders good. He was actually good. He ranked 7th in expected points added per dropback in 2020, according to Ben Baldwin. And I understand that he isn't an aesthetically pleasing passer, but he was well above average, leading a highly capable playoff offense. That can't just be replaced by anybody. The second thing is that the Colts are primed for Super Bowl contention immediately. Only 3 teams in the NFL ranked top 10 in both offensive and defensive expected points added: the Ravens, the Colts, and the Buccaneers. Indy comes into 2021 with a roster led by all-pro studs: Quentin Nelson, DeForest Buckner, and Darius Leonard. And an emerging core of young stars rounds out this roster that now has $65 million in cap space. The time to win is now, and the only hole they have left to fill just happens to be the most important one. So who will fill it? Looking internally, Jacoby Brissett just is not an option. We've seen him have his chance. He's a highly capable backup, a really fun personality, but he's just not a Super Bowl quality quarterback, and that needs to be the bar. So what about Jacob Eason? The former Washington Husky was drafted in round 4 last year, and he spent some time this year as their 3rd string quarterback. He is definitely a member of team #SneakyAthletic and has a cannon arm, but his decision-making and accuracy are inconsistent. While Eason has potential, and only the Colts staff truly knows what they have, I just struggle to see it as wise to entrust this roster with a project quarterback who's unproven in the NFL. If I had Eason in Dynasty Superflex, I would try to move him for any second-round pick, hoping that he gets this job, but I don't think it's very optimistic. So what about this draft? The Colts pick 20th. That's almost certainly out of the range of Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, or Zach Wilson. But what about that next year? Something to know about general manager Chris Ballard is he is a traits drafter, right? He's going to be prioritizing athletic ability and tools over production. So someone like Alabama's Mac Jones, I just wouldn't expect to see go off the board to Indianapolis. I also don't see Florida's Kyle Trask as a significantly better player than Jacob Eason. If they're going with a project quarterback, I expect them to just keep the one they have in-house. The one guy I could see Chris Ballard making a move for is the North Dakota State University quarterback. No, not that one. We'll get to him later. But right now, I'm talking about Trey Lance. Ballard has shown that he has no concerns taking a player coming off an off year, and Lance, a rugged rusher with an absolute rocket, is the type of profile that Ballard could fall in love with. Ultimately, though, I expect to go O-line for the Colts in round 1, replacing retired left tackle Anthony Costanzo, and I think they'll address quarterback with a veteran ready to play in week 1 with this roster. So what are the external options? Number 1 for me is Matt Stafford. A perfect fit for the Frank Reich offense, Stafford is the best possible available option, unless you consider Dak Prescott or Deshaun Watson actually possible, which, sorry, I don't. He would likely cost our 1st-round pick and maybe more, but Ballard, who traded his first last year for DeForest Buckner, knows that if the chance comes to land a franchise piece, you have to be willing to push in your chips. Second up, now we're going to talk about Carson Wentz. With their cap space, the Colts are the best positioned team to acquire him for limited draft capital because we can eat his salary. Now, Wentz obviously struggled last year, but in 2017 with Colts coach Frank Reich, Wentz put up by far his best year. He ranked 2nd in the NFL in expected points added while pushing the ball downfield. He was 2nd in the NFL in air yards per attempt. If Philly wants to move forward with Jalen Hurts, Wentz is the best chance for the Colts to get a high-end starter in 2021 without moving their 1st-round pick. You could also look at lower-profile reclamation projects like Jameis Winston, who could be had for nothing but cap space. And there's Sam Darnold, who I think has a lot of potential, would likely not cost our 1st-round pick, but given we have the cap space to afford him, I would rather go for Wentz, who has shown a higher NFL ceiling. On the whole, what do I want? To me, if there's a chance at getting Stafford in a different shade of blue and white, I would do everything in my power to make it happen, and I hope Ballard thinks the same way. This team, with Stafford playing for the best play caller of his career, is a Super Bowl contender now. If not Stafford, I'd like to go down the route of Wentz, Darnold, or Winston, who all possess high upside and likely won't cost our first-round pick. If any of these players end up in Indy, I'm buying them. As for Jacob Eason, like I said, I think the chance he's their week 1 starter is fairly slim. Signing off, this is Jacob, FF_RTDB. Please subscribe to the Join Our Circle YouTube channel. Follow myself and @_Join Our Circle on Twitter. And to whoever the Colts quarterback is next year, I just hope they make fast friends with Jonathan Taylor. Go Colts!